Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me to our next 4+4 interview today with Kim from Microsoft. I'm very happy to have you here today. Thank you for joining. And maybe you want to introduce yourself first and tell us a little bit of what you do at Microsoft in general, but then also maybe talk about if you had any contact with blockchains or crypto in general before.
Yeah, sure. So, my name's Kim Robbins, and I'm working in the German market for Microsoft. And at the moment, my current role covers a collection of enterprise customers that sit in our FSI industry, and I have a specific focus on capital markets and banking. Although previously, I've also dealt with a lot of enterprise insurance customers in the German market, and also different investment funds and things like that. And in my private time, I've done some, private investments in sort of NFT and blockchain. And I have a finance background, so I always find sort of the markets around crypto quite an interesting area for me personally. And definitely what we see in FSI and what I'm seeing in some of my customers is the interest is continuing to build in what Web3 means for Microsoft and what it means for our customers, and sort of where our place as Microsoft is in sort of facilitating those innovation topics at our customers, and how's Microsoft contributing, and how are we interacting with other big players in the overall Web3 market.
I think it's very interesting, and you're definitely in like a very interesting position at Microsoft because you get to see like so many different things and so many different startups and companies and talk to them and hear about their plans. And I'm sure that because you interact a lot with data, right? That's kind of where you come in, and AI and all this stuff, and it has become very difficult, in my opinion, at least from an outside perspective. But I also did a little bit of data science in the past. I did an internship as a data scientist once, way back. And I think the most important part when it comes to data in general is, the verification of this data, if it's actually authentic, and the quality of it, right? And I feel like that's
Yep.
something where blockchain might come in, right? Because you can easily verify, okay, is this data actually legit? Did it really come from this company? Did it really come from this person, et cetera, et cetera? Um, do you think that there are many touching points regarding, data analytics, data science, data?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think the core principles of blockchain in terms of having a ledger that's tracking everything allows for a lot more transparency. And although, like, I think pre-blockchain, we're still trying to improve that as much as we can in our banking systems. We have like a lot of anti-money laundering systems and things like that. But I think in the long term, we could see situations where blockchain solves those type of problems in a better way than our current technology. So I think that's definitely like an interesting area that's developing, and customers are looking at like how can we apply blockchain either to have better transparency, how can we be a player in the market, whether that's like in trading or facilitating blockchain, and then also people in like especially in FSI and also insurance are looking at how can we sort of find like good use cases at an enterprise level where you can use NFTs to represent investments or fractional investment and things like that. So I think all of those kind of areas are kind of coming together at the moment. And while, I mean, everyone says this about Web3 and crypto is that it's very early, but it is early. And I think what's exciting is it's early in the, maybe less early in the retail area, but it's definitely still really early in enterprise. And so like everyone's trying to, I guess, explore what that means, and where that can help to solve big problems.
Another thing I actually really wanted to ask you, and I'm not sure if you're actually allowed to talk about this, but if you are, then okay. If not, then also fine. But because of your position, you of course see a lot of like great use cases in general around the tech world in a way, not only blockchain but everything. And I'm just curious, without naming any names, what are some of the most innovative and cool use cases that you have seen, and where you think, okay, this really makes sense for crypto and blockchain and all this kind of stuff? This is really where we can have an impact.
Yeah, so I've seen like I have some use cases that I've seen on the insurance side. For example, like some insurance companies insure art, and they're thinking like, okay, we insure art as a product. How do we turn that into an NFT? So we're not just insuring the art, but we're also providing maybe an NFT copy of the art to our customers, especially for like with that really high end sort of art. And then also, what I've seen a lot in is like in real estate. Not, I think it's a little bit too early to put an NFT behind a particular property, but definitely like investment funds. Like how do we split that up, or how can we fractionalize investment funds via either a crypto token or um, or an NFT, but probably a crypto token, in terms of how by doing that, does that allow us to have better liquidity and things like that, and fractionalize it in a better way that's more accessible. So I think those are two quite interesting areas. And then another, just the industry perspective that I think is super interesting is you're seeing like a lot of the crypto centralized exchanges, like a Coinbase or FTX, starting to position themselves to see where they can compete with the traditional exchanges like NASDAQ and all the ones in Europe and such. So I think this is sort of an interesting area, and I think there's going to be a lot of innovation in the capital markets area of both the traditional exchanges adopting crypto, so they're competing the other direction, and then your like centralized exchanges like FTX and Coinbase and Gemini trying to see where they can carve out business in the other direction. And it's really interesting because you have such different backgrounds and also different trust environments. Like there's a lot of institutional investors that only trust Deutsche Börse Group or London Stock Exchange or NASDAQ. And so it's going to be interesting to see how those relationships shift, and that market and capital markets is really complex, and there are a lot of different areas, but it's going to be interesting to see how the whole process of the capital markets can potentially shift in the following 5 or 10 years.